two or three very quick things, and I'll let you go. So I filmed this video in cinematic mode on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The cinematic mode has its pluses and minuses, but basically what it allows you to do is to digitally control the aperture. It doesn't really control the aperture. It's an AI digital control of the aperture. So one of the things that photographers do or videographers do when they're using a regular camera is they will open that aperture up really wide to f2 or f2.8 to get their subject in focus and the background out of focus. What they call a bokeh or bokeh, however you want to pronounce it. I call it bokeh. That blurry background that everybody loves, little dreamy look. In the regular camera mode on the iPhone 15 or on any iPhone, it is basically putting everything it can find into focus. You have to really come in and get close to something to get things out of focus, which is what I've done with some of the footage that I've done where I've focused on something in the foreground and then walked past and I'm out of focus. That's how I've managed to do that manually. In cinematic mode, it does it for me digitally. And you'll see this specifically in the second shot of the video where you're looking at the back of my balding head and the wall across from me is out of focus. That's the cinematic look. And for this particular video, I like that look. I don't know if I want to use it all the time or not, but I liked it for this. The other thing that I did, something I picked up on a video I was watching the other day, is I filmed everything in 30 frames per second. But 30 frames per second is, as somebody described it, it's like watching a Hallmark movie. And 24 frames per second is like going to the theater. So I filmed it in 30 frames per second, but then when I brought it into DaVinci Resolve, I decreased it to 24 frames per second, and it slowed everything down just a tad. Not enough. If I'm speaking, you really won't notice any difference to my voice, but it just made things sort of smoother as they went along. Especially, like there's a clip, after I got to the choo-choo, there's a clip walking past the sign pointing to gate 11. In 30 frames per second, that was a bit choppy because it was all handheld. But when I slowed it down to 24 frames per second, it smoothed out the footage, which was really wild for me. Third thing, and I'm done. I want to remake this video, but I want to make it better. There are things that I would do now differently than I did before. For instance, I've never ridden one of these trams before. If I have, it's so long ago I forgot. And I didn't expect all the windows to be covered with a sunshade mesh on the outside where I couldn't do anything about it. And so it was impossible really to get a video out the window, which is kind of what I wanted. But now that I know sort of more about what's going on, I think what I would include when I redo this video later, I would include shots of the aquarium because that's where I started. The shuttle runs from the aquarium to the choo-choo and back again. It makes stops along the way if there's anybody waiting, but that's the extent of its travel. And I should have had some better type of establishing shot. And I could have done that from the parking garage over where I got on the bus. I could go up to the very top floor and look out over the rooftop of the aquarium, maybe a pan of the street. But when I got to the choo-choo, there was not enough there to let you know that's where I was. If you've never been there, you would have absolutely no idea that's where I was until you saw the train. But there's, again, a parking garage over where I got off the shuttle. And if I'd gone up to the top of the parking garage, I could have got a shot almost eye level with the big choo-choo sign that's on top of the hotel. So there are some other types of shots I would have gotten along the way. I don't know that I would add any talking to it, but I think that I would make this a little tighter in an edit. Anyway, let me know what you think about cinematic mode. I've got a little ways to go to master it. Some shots were a little out of focus, then they came into focus, setting the coffee cup down on the table. It was actually going to pick up the coffee cup. I didn't press on the coffee cup on the screen to lock that focus in, which I should have. So it started out of focus and then finally came into focus. There's a few things like that are, technical aspects of filmmaking that I had absolutely no idea about. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, and we will see you again tomorrow. We're almost to 100 videos. It's coming up.